because of the lack of social skills, the lack of knowledge about the world, I developed some inferiority complex since young. I decided not to compete to be the most valuable player, but to be the most improved player. Empathy, coaching people, strategic thinking. So that I think most people know. But this thought leadership piece is crucial now because all of us spend so much time on our mobile phone.
From selling prawn noodles to becoming a key opinion leader on LinkedIn with more than 2.5 million followers. Today, I'll be talking with Eric Sim about his journey and how small actions can take your career to big successes. Eric, I'm so happy having you here at the podcast. Welcome.
Rodrigo, thank you for inviting me. I love the setup down here, your lights, camera, and setup down here. Wow, amazing.
Okay, so let's do it. Let's start the conversation. So a lot of people know about you, about being an author, about being a KOL, also about being an MD at the bank, but maybe not many people know about how everything started. So maybe can you take us through the beginning of your journey?
Oh, let me bring you back all the way to my childhood. When I was in elementary school, I had to help my father to sell prawn noodle in Singapore Hawker Centre. So for those people who may not know about Singapore Hawker Centre, it's just a street food stores. He sold noodles for over 30 years. So I helped him for 10 years from elementary school till my university days. I learned many lessons. I learned that not to rub my eyes after cutting chili. And I learned that this is really blood and sweat money. I've cut my hand before, bleeding. Of course, it's so hot in there. It's like a sauna. And I was sweating most of the time. So after my father stopped working as a hawker, I didn't have to help him. So during school holiday, I say, what can I do? I only know how to cook noodles and serve, but I don't want to work in such a hot place anymore. I went to look for a nightclub. The most popular nightclub is called Fire Disco. I applied to be a bartender. And the hiring manager asked me, do you know how to make drinks? I said, no, but I know how to drink. So I told him a few drinks that I have ordered before and said, okay, you get a job, you start work on Monday. So I went there on Monday, memorized the recipe. Then I noticed that there is something quite peculiar. In this Fire Disco, there are two levels. Level 1 is for the youngsters. Popular music back in the 90s. Level 2, for slightly matured crowd, there's a live band playing, and they play rock music, songs from Guns N' Roses, songs from Eagles, like Hotel California. So Team 1 is very close with each other. Team 2 bartenders are very close with each other as well. So sometimes when Team 2 is short of people, and the manager asks Team 1 bartender, one or two of them, to go up to help, they refuse. They feel like if you're from Team 1 and you go to Team 2, you are betraying Team 1. Then a new manager came to replace the old manager. He saw this problem. Within a week, he said that no more Team 1 and Team 2. We do a roster. Sometimes you work downstairs, sometimes you work upstairs. After that, there's no such problem. Whenever there's a shortage, you just send somebody up. So that lesson taught me, in school, right? You don't learn everything. A lot of life lessons we actually learn on the job. And you really need to deal with people. In fact, a lot of our job is dealing with people. not so much of numbers. I was in banking, yes, I need to calculate the numbers correctly, I need to be fast, but still I need to convince the client to give us the mandate. Then I can make some money for the bank. And the lesson that I learned from my father, I need to multitask. When I was focusing just on taking order from the customers and ignoring everything else, I got scolded by my father. You need to pay attention to the surrounding all the time. So if I take an order from you for the noodle order, my right eye must be looking at the person who tries to run away without paying. And my right ear must be listening to my father telling me that the noodle is ready for the next customers. My left eye is scanning surrounding to see who comes first so that I don't serve them in the wrong order. And I need to be aware which table is dirty. I need to go and clean them. Yeah. So I took that into my work, try to do multitasking. Although a lot of people say multitasking is not efficient. But if you are trained for it, you can be. And then to be observant of your surrounding is also important, because sometimes in a meeting, you cannot just pay attention to the highest ranking person. The CEO may have the highest title but may not be the decision maker. The owner may be there, or you sometimes see some young people, they could be the owner's son. Or the wife is sitting right at the corner. That could be the decision maker, so you need to be observant.
Well, such interesting experiences that you had. And now I'm curious, and how did those two experiences shaped you as a person, but also as a professional, and in your career?
Yeah, so I realized to do well in our life, in our career, and with people, we need to have skills. Academic study, being knowledgeable is not good enough. In fact, that is only half or less than half the equation. If you know how to deal with people, if you can convince people, you can do many jobs well. Banking jobs is really a people's job. You are convincing the client to give you the mandate to pay you the fees to buy this product, right? The product is there, is dead. It's a fix. I would say that is what I call a dead knowledge. Dealing people is something alive because everyone is different. So it comes from experience, comes from your intuition. And the more people that you deal with, you get better dealing with people from different countries, different age group, different stage of life. Whereas the knowledge is always there. Discount cash flow, 20 years ago it's called discount cash flow, today it's still the same way of calculating. And from there, I try to look back and see where I fail. Because a lot of time I fail is because I lack the social skills. Like my very first job at UBS Bank, I was an engineer already, not good in talking to people. And I went for this job at UBS Bank. I was the only engineer, and the rest of my colleagues, they were more savvy. They come from business school, or they were taught well. For me, the people that I deal with are people at the street food store, not working professionals with big companies. And I realized, so much I lack. And I try to learn all these skills. And also because of the lack of social skills, the lack of knowledge about the world, I developed some inferiority complex since young. Right. Because I don't know the world. When I go to school, right, people are talking about SEA Games, Southeast Asia Games. One classmate said, "Hey, have you watched the SEA Games?" I say, "Games played in the sea?" Because I got no clue. It's not something that my family discussed with me. We are discussing how much prawns to prepare for the next day. Yeah. And Now I try to teach people the importance of these skills. And with that, I find that there is a demand for me. That's why I wrote the book, Small Action. All the small action that you can do to build rapport with people, to network with people, to build your brand, is very key to doing a person's job. And it also makes me very curious that can we do multiple jobs? Because I was studying and was a bartender. I work in a bank. On the side, I was adjunct associate professor teaching in a university. From all of this, I say that wouldn't it be nice to live another person's life who has a different profession? I wondered, what is the life of an architect? What's the life of a designer? Maybe a life of a model, a life of a student, or cameraman, chef. But it's not easy to do that. And even if you can do that in your next life, you've forgotten what happened in your earlier life. So what I now try to do is to do all these jobs at the same time.
Oh, Eric, that is super interesting.
Yeah.
But now I'm curious, like, how do you navigate in the context of a bank? So how did you succeed?
A lot of work, a lot of failures. So when I joined banking, especially investment bank, suddenly the people around me, they usually come from, or most of them come from well-to-do families. Some are as rich, or some are so rich that their family can open a bank if they want to, right? And flying business class is a downgrade because they normally fly first class. For me, business class is like fantastic, right? In my dreams, I only fly business class. Yeah. And so I feel a little bit kind of inadequate. Then one of my friends, when in Hong Kong, when I first got to know him, and I was new to Hong Kong, then every time he introduced me, he will tell people, you have to listen to Eric's story. So I say, Chuck, what story is that? He said, your hawker story. So it's not a story that I share with people all the time. You ask, I'll tell you, but there's no big deal, right? A banker, now I'm already like in a good profession. There's no need to share my childhood. But he always asked me to share that story. So then I thought, maybe I should share. Then I start sharing with more and more people. I even gave a talk, learning from the hawkers to a female expat group. Yeah, it was well received. So I said, maybe the lessons from hawkers is interesting. Then I decided not to compete to be the most valuable player, but to be the most improved player. Because most valuable player, I'm not going to reach there. I don't have the kind of network. 2 phone calls, some of the bankers can reach anybody in Asia, really. So once I switched that mindset to be the most valuable player, I feel that, hey, I feel better about myself, and I continue to acquire new skills and also try to help others. Now I'm trying to help the 22-year-old Eric and Erica. Because I'm sure there are some students, who don't come from a rich family. Maybe their parents are like mine, working in F&B, or driving taxis,
In a lot of your talks, you talk a lot about happiness, about purpose, about doing something that you love. Can you elaborate more on that?
So this is my life 1.0 versus life 2.0. Life 1.0 is you study hard, you get a good job, you make money, and you buy things. And you hope buying all these things will make you happy. And I've seen so many people make a lot of money, and there's still a gap. They still feel a little bit hollow. So now I move to Life 2.0. I still make money, but beside money, I want a good relationship with people around me, with my followers, with my readers. Do some things that is more meaningful and fulfilling. Writing a book, and when I receive messages to say, oh, I read your book gave me good tips, it changed my life. That is very fulfilling for me. Teaching. So you can see the activities that I do now, whether it's writing book or teaching or writing on LinkedIn, even giving webinar, is all about sharing what I know. Because sharing makes me understand my topic even more. And sometimes by interacting, by getting the comments, I get new information, then I can get better ideas. So now I'm trying to get the happiness, fulfillment from different sources. It's just like vitamins. If you only got vitamin M, money is not going to make you a healthy person. You need vitamin A, B, C, D. So happiness from helping somebody without expecting anything in return, happiness from giving back, happiness from doing things that when nobody is watching and you're still doing the right thing. There was once I was in CBD area in Raffles Place in Singapore, and after my gym I went to arcade, one of the old building, to eat my favorite chicken rice. I was queuing, and in front of me was a young man in white shirt, office wear. And by the time, when it was his turn to order, he ordered chicken rice takeaway, and the store owner said $5. He checked his wallet, he has only like $3, and he was surprised it was so expensive, $5. He thought $3 would be enough, but because this is CBD, maybe he never worked in Raffles Place before. Then I feel that he is a bit struggling. So I took a $2 note out to give it to the store owner, so I said I'll cover for him. And store owner was happy because store owner then can quickly clear the queue and then without holding people back. And this young man was quite happy. He said, "Oh, do you have pay now? I can pay you later." Then I said, "I don't have pay now. I don't know what pay now is at that time because I just came back from Hong Kong." I said, "Don't worry, just enjoy your lunch." He left and disappeared into the crowd in Raffles Place. And that was the best $2 I ever spent. If you use $2 to buy a chocolate bar, you would have forgotten it after 5 minutes. Yeah. So sometimes, right, in life, there are many ways to get fulfillment and happiness. But sometimes because we are so caught up in our work, we never think. For me, happiness could be taking a walk in the garden or going for a walk and reflecting about your life.
So tell us, how can we build an alternative career, not just what we do normally we are taught, which is you go into corporate, you climb the ladder. What's the other alternative?
So just now what you say is a traditional way. Alternative is to, can you do a side career to derive happiness? So sometimes you can have your day job to pay the bill. You can have a side job to give you the fulfillment and then to network with different groups of people. And hopefully over time, that also make you money. Then you get some money, you get some fulfillment. And in that way, you are more flexible. If one day you lose your day job, you can then focus on your side gig for 3 to 6 months while looking for your next job. Because now it's very serious for people who lost their job. It's very scary. You got bills to pay and you need to pretend Because social media is so open, right?
Yeah.
Then what to post? Suddenly you don't post because you've been very active on posting, and suddenly you don't post. You feel, oh, so everybody will know that I got laid off and I'm worthless, because a lot of people tie their self-worth to the job. So have those side interests, and then it's important for your mental health to be able to focus on something, not just keep trying to look for your next job. You do that, but on the side, go for your exercise, because the happiness that comes from health is also very important, and it's immediate. You go for a 1 hour good exercise, immediately you feel better about yourself. So I think it's to experience. A lot of people, they don't have chance to experience, so they haven't tasted it. They haven't tasted the kind of fulfillment, or also now for me, freedom. The freedom to decide what to do, who to do it with, and when to do it, and where to do it. So now I have the flexibility, and that freedom is priceless.
Yeah, what I really like is that you are bringing a different way of thinking, of seeing life, of seeing work, and I really, really like that. And so I read your book, Small Actions. I really, really liked it.
Thank you.
And I recommend it. So what I like is about you bring all your experiences. You focus on stories that really connect with people, but then you break it into very small pieces of advice, that very easy to digest. And also I like that you talk about very maybe topics which everyone is talking about, and you talk it in a little different perspective. So I really, really like it. A part that I really liked about the book is when you talk about be your own CEO.
Yeah.
And I would love to ask you to elaborate more on that.
So be your own CEO is take charge of your career and your life. So when I was in banking, there was a course that I really wanted to go because my insurance agent told me. So I've got a life insurance agent. He said that his company sent him to a 5-day training in Johor Bahru, trained by an ex-colonel. So it's hundreds of people going there for 5 days, live in, and they will try to brainwash you, and after that, you become Superman and Superwoman. Everything is possible because insurance agent needs to take a lot of rejection. I said that is going to be good for me because I face so many rejection. I said that, can I sign up for the course? So he signed me up. I went. I took 5 days of annual leave. I paid for the course on my own. I was the only non-insurance agent from that company. So I was the only person not from that company. Everybody else is insurance agent. Is really taking charge. So I didn't want to say I applied to my boss to ask to allow me to go for this course. If they don't allow, then I don't go. So I don't think of it this way. I would bring my own chair. Any stationery that I like, I'll buy. I don't, use the company stationery. You think banks very rich, right? But they give you some lousy pen, very cheap pen. I said, you need to use the pen every day. Why don't I just spend a few dollars, buy my own pen? Yeah, and I've got colleagues, they'll buy their own desk lamp when the lighting is not bright enough for their place. Some will buy stool so that they can rest their leg and have a better posture. So all of that you can do. So don't wait for the company. Yeah, so this is what I meant by being your own CEO. If there's a client to meet, because sometimes our bank policy is you need to have 3 client meetings before you can book a trip. Sometimes there's one important and I got no time to book the other 2. I'll book the trip and I tell my boss, I'll just pay on my own first. If the company can reimburse me, it's good. If not, it's okay because this is a very important client for the firm. So I'll use my own money. And with that, I also advise one of my coaching client. His name is Joe, and then he one day wrote an email to his boss to say that I think he's in one of the big four. So he said that he got one client that he doesn't want to prioritize. So he explained why to his boss. So everything was good. The boss was happy. He said, okay, this client not the most urgent right now, but there's one problem. He CC'd the client. So after he realized that the client was copied on it, he couldn't sleep. He couldn't sleep for a couple of days. Then he came to me, and then I said that, turn this around. Take your own money, book the flight from London to New York, apologize to the client, buy a small gift. The moment he think that he can get out of the situation, he slept. He slept well. Then 2-3 days later, he apologized to the client on the phone, and then he realized that actually he didn't need to fly. But the fact that you have this CEO mindset, you're willing to use your own money to do the job, to do your day job, you suddenly has got so much more option. Yeah. So I often host networking events using my own money for the benefit of my client relationship. So I don't do client events. I do my friends event, then I invite 2 or 3 clients so that my clients don't feel like they are clients, they feel like they are part of my network. And I will only expense the client's drink, not the whole networking event, because half of them are my friends. So I'm also want to be very careful with that, especially in banking.
So basically it's about you take control, right? Doesn't matter if you work for a company or not, but you take control and you act as your own CEO, even if you are inside the company, right?
Yes. And also, if you are a company, if imagine you are a company, in this company there will be HR person. So if you are your own CEO, you need to also put on your HR hat, right? That means you decide who you want to spend more time with. Like Rodrigo, you are a very entrepreneurial person. That's why I agreed to come to this podcast. So this is a HR hat, right? I cannot go on all podcasts because I have too many requests to do podcasts. I can only select a few. So HR hat. You need to have the CFO hat on what to buy. To buy a Rode to microphone, to buy your Sony camera. Is it worth investing? So then you got the learning and development team. What course to take? So every year I make it a point to attend some classes. Network with students, I could be positive psychology, could be visual communication, could be creative writing, video editing. Something not related to my work so that I get new ideas, I get new network. So as a CEO, this is what you need to have. Even though it's to help you do your day job, not necessarily you must make the company pay.
You spoke about you need to build your skills. The more experiences you have, you build your skills. Like as a leader, what is the one skill that you think is going to be critical for a leader to develop today that will help him in the future?
I think one skill to help in the future is thought leadership. Because as a leader, it's managing people. But these days when you send email, right, people may not read. So you can see many leaders trying to do it on social media. Even when they're talking to their client or there's a message for the client or message for the employees, it's done on social media. So this is thought leadership if you want to be big. Of course, the other skills you should have, manage empathy, coaching people, strategic thinking. So that I think most people know. But this thought leadership piece is crucial now because all of us spend so much time on our mobile phone, right? Easily 1 to 2 hours. Social media, whichever, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or Chinese social media. So are you there? As a leader, are you there? Are you giving messages that are encouraging, motivating, inspiring? Can you show a bit of your vulnerabilities so that you can build better rapport with your team members? And people also will read, right? Because if you are the boss, they'll follow you, they'll engage with your comment. And it also helps to, you are this persona in public and in the company, you are quite the same, you're like that. Then it's also motivating for your staff to work for you. So that is one low-hanging fruit. But it is not easy for leaders because their social media policy, especially in bank, is very strict. If you do the wrong thing, you lose your job. So many leaders are not willing to take that risk.
Oh,
I took that risk, and now I can have my portfolio career because I built my followers and I write only the things I like to talk about. Then I attracted the people who likes to hear what I like to talk about. So you make your own audience. That means you are then have a bigger audience than just your team members. So sometimes I also introduce my team members to my followers, to my students, and that is stronger.
Yeah. So you build, your thought leadership. I think today you have more than 2 million followers on LinkedIn. So as a leader, can you tell me how can I build my thought leadership on social media?
Okay. Content, consistency, community. Content, decide the area you want to be thought leader. For me, it's career skills. For you, could be entrepreneurship, leadership. Right? And consistency is, are you able to make time? As a leader, you are pull left, right, and center. If I say post once a week, can you commit to that? Because there's something more important than posting on social media. There's a lot of firefighting. Your staff resign. Is that more important than posting on social media? Of course. But because of all of this, then people are not consistent. So sometimes need to be mindful. So I put it in my calendar. Every Tuesday morning, so I started with once a week, every Tuesday morning, 7:45, I post. I post in the morning so that I will not be accused of using office hour to do that. And the third one is community. Community means you build, you know your followers. It's not just you write and people engage and then you step back. You have to engage with them, understand what they like about your content, what are their inputs. And that community is also introducing your friends, your fellow leaders, your team members together. And then you can be a connector. So if you have these 3C, I think you will have a good start.
I really like that. So first is about choosing the content, the topic that you want to, right? That is the first one. Second is about commit to be consistent, right? You need consistency to build that presence. And the last one is about building the community and being a connector, which, to be honest, I think you do that extremely well. And it's something that I really admire and learn from you, is how you do that. And that's how you build your thought leadership. And I really like your advice in the sense of, maybe do it not on the office hours, so that at least you are safe.
You are safe because you don't want to be seen taking time away from your day job. Then your boss may accuse you of not focusing, not prioritizing your job. So for me, when I was in banking, every 3 months I take the head of communication out for lunch. Then I check, am I doing okay? Is the bank fine with me? Because now I got more followers than the bank. He said, Eric, you're fine. Whenever you post, the people see the bank, so you're giving us a good advertisement. In fact, we want to use your account to post about our China business. Can we? I say, I'm paid by the bank. Use my account anytime. I'm yours. So need to maintain a good relationship. I say that if there's anything wrong, tell me first, Don't go and tell the big boss, then the big boss fire me. So make sure you spend your own money, buy lunch, buy good lunch, buy Michelin restaurant lunch, and build good relationship with people.
Wow, so good. I think we're coming to the end, but I think we covered so much. So we started by understanding the importance of experiences and build your skills. Also, there's the portfolio career, like there's other way of building your career. We spoke about the key skill, like thought leadership for leaders to develop. And now I would like the question about how can you help your team also doing the same in terms of developing themselves and also building their
portfolio career.
Yeah.
So I always encourage my team members to bring their interests into work. Incorporate it. For example, if you want to be a public speaker, because public speaking is very scary, I say, try it. Try with a small team, 5 people. You think of a topic, you present 20 minutes. If it's good, let's go to a bigger team. 20, 30 people, you present, we just send out an email. I'll sponsor the lunch. Sandwich lunch doesn't cost much. And because of lunch, people will come and then you can practice. And I can also do it jointly with you so that it's less pressure on you. So I help them train public speaking. If you like running, I say organize a 5K run for the company. Send out the email, and the bosses will come. Because bosses are dying to exercise. But now, because the bosses come, they can build rapport with the subordinate, right? So you make it easy for them. If you like cooking, bring your cakes. If you like baking, let us try your cakes. Then we can give you some feedback. Then you know whether to open the shop. So if you like design, I say, do your PowerPoint better. The content is there, but make it look nicer, then you can use your design skills. So in this way, they feel happier, and then they can develop that skill, and then hopefully you can make your first dollar from your side gig. It means after you do good public speaking, you go and give a speech, you go and give a talk. You can bake the cake, start selling.
So basically it's about helping to develop their interests. Because it's their development, also it's their happiness,
Because they'll feel happy because work is so tough.
Yeah.
Right, and life got up and down. You cannot be happy all the time.
Yeah.
So sometimes you come in, you do something that you like, you forget your unhappiness or the failure for a moment, and then you get over it. When you go home, sleep, next morning, you are better.
Nice. Wow. Okay, so we're coming to the end, and I have one more question to you.
Yes.
So I know, you are on social media a lot, and people ask you a lot of questions.
Yes.
But maybe, what is the one question that no one asks you and you would love to answer?
Because I cover so many things, publishing a book in China, and like the challenges, and also very interesting because to publish in China. And of course, I'm on social media, different social media, I'm teaching. So I do so many different jobs. Up until now, there is like no one, because most people only know one small area. Maybe social media, they know banking, they know banking. Sometimes I hope I can find a person who knows everything that I do and ask me how I can connect all this and how I manage to do all this at the same time. Yeah.
So that is
the question. I think it will be interesting. I have yet to find the answer because I just try to dabble on so many different things that interest me.
It's the end. It's been such a lovely conversation. Thank you for having so much value, with all your experience, but also all your tips. So for me, you're someone that I admire. Your career, your experience, but also what I love is you're very humble, and also you are always thinking, how can I help? How can I help others?
Yeah.
How can I connect others? And I really, really admire. So I'm so happy that we had the opportunity to have this conversation, and good luck with your book, and also continuing to help more people with their portfolio careers and with their happiness.
Thank you for having me.
What's your small action for today? Don't forget to subscribe